Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back, guys, gals, aliens, and degenerate crypto enthusiasts. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to Dano Crypto. On this channel, we show you guys how to make simple, effective, and easy moves in the cryptocurrency ecosystems. So while we have record-breaking cold fronts and cold snaps moving across the country, we have crypto heating up, my friends. So we're going to get into it. We're going to get into that price action. We're going to get into the ETF mania. We're going to get into the altcoins that we are watching for the next few months and also going into the next few years because, my friends, blockchain is going to be the settlement layer for just about everything when it comes to AI, when it comes to all of the settlement layers, stablecoin transactions, minting, all of this stuff is happening on the blockchain. So we want to make sure we are tuned in the right places. And we're going to talk a little bit about privacy. We're going to talk about some of the privacy coins and protocols that are pumping right now, and something that we can kind of focus on going into the next phase of crypto, which actually is bringing us back to our roots, which is privacy and having some sovereignty and some essence of where you can not feel like everything you're doing is being tracked, which we know that's the case nowadays. Is our data is being sold. We have data breaches where all these companies and entities that exist out in the world that are trying to grab your data and use it to their advantage. We need to go into crypto probably in the next few years having a little bit of focus on that. So we're going to get into what we could possibly use or start to focus on now that we would be very much happy that we did in the future. So we're going to point out a couple coins that are high cap and also some low cap stuff. Then we're going to go into our altcoin picks. We're going to go into what our top picks are, what our portfolio looks like, and get into a little bit of the news. We'll talk a little bit about the stimulus, what you guys think about the stimulus, if we'll even get it, if Congress will even approve it, if we will even get where the stimulus is even going to come from is the tariffs, because the tariffs are actually now being tried in court. And if the Supreme Court rules that the tariffs are unjustified, man, it's going to be really that. But then we'll get the stimmy from how we got it from 2020. So if anything would happen from how we saw the rally, the stimmy rally from 2020, we might just all be putting it right into Robinhood and DraftKings. That's kind of what's happening. So welcome, my friends. Let me know what temperature it is where you are, because it's like 30, 35 degrees where I'm at. So definitely a nice little cold snap. But welcome to the channel. Make sure you guys are hitting the like button, hitting the subscribe button, dinging the bell to be notified. We do these live streams at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, consistently Monday through Friday. And on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, sometimes we do 8 o'clock live streams as well. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the ETFs. So the ETFs, we have a lot of filings coming through with Solana, but then also we have a lot of filings for XRP. So XRP is getting a lot of different filings. We had Canary submit an application for XRP ETF. We had USDTCC has listed 11 ETFs related to XRP. So a lot of attention on XRP. And there is a lot of, I think Uniswap is getting a lot of traction right now. So we're going to look at the Uniswap chart as an altcoin. People forget about Uniswap, but it still is. And they also have their own chain. Uniswap does have their own chain as well. They have their own protocol. So we're going to check that out. And so, yeah, I just think that there's a lot of, Hedera is also, has ETFs. So US Hedera spot ETFs have no net inflows. Litecoin spot ETFs have a single day net inflow, $2.11 million. So we're starting to get inflows. And I didn't even realize that we already had the spot Hedera and Litecoin spot ETFs. So this, I think, is going to be what drives this price action going into the next few years, because the rotation from the so basically, if you had 401k for the past 4 or 5 years, and you have just steadily have had it position and percentages diversified into different sectors, like you'd have some to tech, you had the bonds, you had some in the ETFs, a dividend yielding portfolio. And usually these 401ks are diversified to where you're getting less high risk, but you're getting a good balanced return over the years. That's what the point of it is. So then when you end up being able to be at a retirement age, your 401k is looking, pretty solid. So What's happening though right now, I think we're going to get a repositioning or restructuring of a lot of these 401ks for high yielding, big accounts that have already thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars. They're going to be repositioning into these crypto ETFs. At least that's my guess. That's my best guess. And that's why I think that President Trump went ahead and did the executive order that all of these different 401ks have to have exposure into these ETFs. And so all the old whales, I think, are selling into the new holders. And I think any healthy asset, if we've been trying to figure out how to learn, what's going on with the flows, is that there's always going to be people that are selling off into the new asset bearers. And then there's still going to be the old whales that are holding. This is kind of the case with Bitcoin. Like Bitcoin whales wake up when there's just like mass euphoria, especially the people who are mining. But then they still hold a supply, but then they're acquiring and redistributing the chart to all the new holders. Some people would say the new suckers, but we don't really think like that. But I think there is going to be something to say with the ETF price inflow and outflow, and in reference to what the price action is for, say, Bitcoin, ETH, Solana, now XRP. I think XRP would be the next one that you can click on this list for Farside. And we mentioned that Solana being one of our top picks along with Ethereum is that Solana will start to see these millions of dollars, like hundreds of millions of dollars per day for the Bitwise and Grayscale Solana ETF. Because of the nature of the staking, I think they're going to have all of these different incentives for staking and restaking over time. So these institutions and retail and also just big institutional investors are wanting to get a piece of long-lasting yield. Jordan Schuffer says it's cleaning pools out in the cold, like 40 something. Man, well, I hope you got some gear on. Crypto for Freedom says Arctic air pushing south from Canada. Yeah, that's crazy. I think there's like the pressure system and all this stuff was just starting to push down into the east and central east, and it was just like, yeah, it was pushing hard. So yeah, it definitely got cold if you weren't ready for it. But yeah, so this is pretty fascinating because the same thing happened with Bitcoin and ETH when we started to see the inflows start to ramp up. Because we know, like, we hate to say it, but that's what drives the prices. Like our ecosystem is so small still compared to what is flowing around in the stock market still. These companies are valued at the price of the total cryptocurrency market cap right now, like Microsoft and Tesla and Nvidia, Google. These companies are the size of crypto as a whole. So this is why I think it's really important to just be bullish overall on crypto. We're going to have our little bear market territories where things are just going to look like crap. And you're going to lose all hope. But I think over time, we've known that every time we've gotten into these areas and we can, represent it by even the fear and greed index, or you just go into like market cycle indicators and you look at every time we've gone into these halving periods, we've had portions where it's just looked like crap. But then right after the halving, we have these peaks up into the red. Kind of going over, I'm in the way of this chart right now. But you can see, look at how much this is extended out. And I'll just get my stupid head out of the way. We still haven't hit. Oh, look, this is what's so fascinating, especially this one represents it in a really, really great way of how the 4-year cycle has been broken. The 4-year cycle, I think, has definitely been broken because we haven't even hit in the red, and we've always have, but we've always spiked or peaked into a massive bubble, like quick sell, like we have these levels that are marked on that actual chart on Blockchain Center, where it's like once you're in here in the red area, it's like a massive bubble territory. So the fact that we've just been kind of stretched across through the fourth halving, and we haven't really seen a run up to the orange or red, and we've passed that average peak cycle, the average peak of 520 days. Because normally you have the halving, and then 520 days over, you have the peak and a peak of the bull market. You have the halving, second halving, and then 520 something average days, we had the peak. And then third halving, it was actually pretty, we had the peak, about 500, something average days after this halving. And then here, it's like, look, you don't see, there's no spike. You don't see that peak. So this is what leads me to believe that we have just extended this cycle. And I think it's all lining up with, like we said, all the geopolitical stuff. It lines up with all the black swan events, the way that before Trump became president, all of the different things that happen. Like, I don't want to say it because I'm already getting shadow banned. Axe is saying, bro, it is over. No, man, you got to look. Okay, so this is perfect. Where's this video? Oh, okay, perfect. Okay, so this is great. I figured I would save this for the beginning of the live stream because it's just the last clip of Matt Hogan. I want to get him on the channel because he's so bullish. And I love how he explains it. He explains it very calmly. He's like, look, we're going to have periods in the market where there's volatility, especially in this new money market, where a lot of the old systems and everything are kind of dying off and they're coming on chain. And and he also explains how he's really bullish ETH and Solana. Like, he's just bullish both of these ecosystems because Ethereum is being chosen for lots of things. Also, Solana is being chosen for lots of things as well. So, I mean, it's not like one is going to be picked out of all of them, out of the entire world of things, and then everyone just stops using all the other stuff. If that was the case, then we wouldn't have Microsoft and Apple and all these different other companies that eventually are competing with each other. And then you could go down the line of then say the products that are physical products that are built around the network and the ecosystem and the developers. So that's how you have to think of these blockchains. It's like you have the network. The network is either powered by the token through it being a proof of stake or proof of work or proof of whatever, a hybrid of both. And then you are, as holding the token, you are actively participating in investing in that network. It's just so that's how I think of Bitcoin. When you're investing in Bitcoin, you're just participating in a massive global, mining network. You're just kind of like operating almost like a little mini node. But then when you're on these networks, you have applications, you have protocols, you have all these things. And then inside those, some of them might be linked to an actual physical product, which is be a hardware wallet or some type of device. So which one is going to get the retail? Which one's going to get the big banks using Wall Street? All of the different ways that money's moving around and rails, like the old antiquated system is like old, slow, and dead, and everything should be and will be on the blockchain. So that's why I don't think, it's over. When people say it's over, like, what do you mean it's over? People said it was over for Amazon too, and they thought it was a dead idea. And then look at how they literally centralized the whole freaking internet by AWS, and then literally taking over everything, delivery, taking over every single aspect of how human psychology works, and literally capitalizing on the entire thing over a period of 20 years. You would say that's a long time, but that's not that long and it like happened over like these different periods of when people were saying it's over. So I'm way more bullish. All right, so let's listen to this clip.
Even as Ethereum is doing exceptionally well. So look, or 5x Ethereum. The reason I feature you here, it's the king of the.
You compare opinion that it's a newer asset, friendly technology, you market because you like Solana's odds and other blockchains. Also said that Mr. Fruition, and it's
financial ecosystem.
Trying to get to where her question
faster than most people think.
And it certainly will be very interesting to see if your forecast comes to fruition. But in that same note, you also said that you're bullish on Ethereum and other blockchains, but you like Solana's odds of winning a larger share of this market because it offers fast, user-friendly technology. You also said that while it's a newer asset, it's gaining ground. You pointed to that example you brought up today, that announcement from Western Union, that it chose Solana as the underlying blockchain for its stablecoin. So in a nutshell, how would you compare Ethereum to the Solana blockchain?
Yeah, look, Ethereum is the market leader. It's the king of this area, and I think it has a very bright future. You see a lot of institutions choosing to build on ETH. They're accelerating from a technological perspective. I love ETH and I own it. The reason I wrote that I was so excited about Solana is just because it's so relatively small. It's only 1/5 the size of Ethereum from a market cap perspective. It's 1/25 the size of Bitcoin. I think you could see Solana double or triple or quadruple or 5x its market share, and the price could go up substantially, even as Ethereum is doing exceptionally well. So look, I love all my children equally. I love Ethereum and I hold it as a core part of my portfolio. I think its prospect is extraordinarily bright. I think it's undervalued, but I think Solana may be even more undervalued versus.
See, I love his breakdown. It's very collected. It's just he just has a good scope on. He's like, look, ETH is just undervalued as if you look at it as a tech standpoint, as the leader of the altcoin space, biggest altcoin next to Bitcoin as for value and market cap. And then when you look at Solana and think about it, like think about crypto and how much you've used crypto over the past 4 years. And when you found Solana, tell me how much you've used Solana over other blockchains. I bet it's a lot. I bet you've used Solana more than most. I probably have. I mean, I've definitely used Polygon and I've used ETH a lot. I've definitely tested and but most of what I've used to like on and off ramp or rail or try and get stable coins sent on a network really fast, I've used Solana. Or I've used Arbitrum. Arbitrum is pretty fast as well. Like I've even probably used Arbitrum more than any. So I think it's interesting when you really get into like the use case and that's why I kind of give Cardano a bad rap, because it's like, when was the last time you've actually used Cardano in a useful sense besides just kind of being like, all right, it's in an early not early ecosystem, but it's relatively kind of just like it's got its own niche followers and there's no stable coin. When was the last time you picked Cardano as the network to send something? So that's why the volume and the stuff that's happened is only going to be niched into what the community's doing. And you can't expect people to just hop on Cardano because of that fact. And so I think because of the nature of what Matt Hogan's talking about with like how Solana operates and how I've noticed, like you just end up using Solana because it's easily accessible.
Its technology and its momentum. It is a very user-friendly blockchain. And I think that is a killer app that's maybe slightly underrated by the market. I think it will have a bigger share going forward.
Turning to markets, crypto's November sell-off is continuing today.
So yeah, I like his point. Like he's like, look, so really, it's just they're doing in their own right a lot of good for crypto. So there's no reason to be like kill ETH or be super bearish Solana. I think it would be cool to hold both. But the case that I like to make for so we're going to get into the altcoins now, and this will kind of segue into some of my altcoin picks. So for Solana, it would make sense, just like we've used this this strategy for what you would want to look at to build up as your core coins on each chain. So whatever the chain is, whether it's Ethereum or Solana, Pulse chain, it does matter. Whatever it is, Sui, Tron, Ton. It's having a really hard time. So we're going to go on Solana, and on Dex Screener, you can do this on Dex Tools. You can go on CoinMarketCap. You can go on CoinGecko, whatever you're wanting to do. But Dex Screener is a lot of times going to pull up more of the meme projects, but then it will have some fundamental projects in here and some applications or dapplications. A lot of this stuff is going to be Pump Fun, Pump Swap, Launchpad bonded tokens. There's Meteora. And if you're absolutely brand new and you don't know what we're looking at, this is an aggregator for the markets for what chain and then what tokens are actually on these chains. You can look at it by the age. You can look at the trading volume. You can see the price here. I like to sort it by liquidity. It's like to look at just kind of like the high liquidity stuff. Pops up some of the things up to the front. Like for instance, Zera just recently migrated to a Meteora liquidity pool. And these symbols right here is what we're going to talk about. So these symbols right here are really important because if you notice, this is where the bank is for the coin. So basically the liquidity pool is like the bank of the coin. That's how people are buying and selling and trading in and out, because there is liquidity inside of the project. So that's why when you see a coin go to freaking zero or it gets rug pulled, it's meaning that the liquidity, the bank of the coin was just like taken out. And then also what that does is that also with that it just nukes the chart essentially. It's like basically taking the bank out of the coin. So these dexes and these protocols like Radium and Meteora, Jupiter, Orca, or sorry, not Jupiter, but Radium, Meteora, Pump. These are where the liquidity pools are being set up. So when we look at that, these also have tokens. Just like we were talking about Uniswap with Ethereum, that was the original flagship DEX token for Ethereum. And so when we look at this for Solana, we need to really pay attention to it. So for instance, we need to be looking at all the DEXs. We need to be looking at the tokens associated with them. And we need to really pay attention. So Radium, Orca, and Pump.fun. I just recently went on the newly updated Pump.fun app on the mobile, and it does look really good. Honestly, it's like for someone to go in, even if you're a new user, I think it still has a chance. I know it's kind of controversial, but I think the more they continue to build on that and Solana does well, I think Pump would be one of the just kind of like an obvious token and a representation of that particular narrative and meta on Solana. And Jupe. So like Jupe, I think as an ecosystem too, and an app, like the Jupiter app is great. I think the Jupiter app, and this is actually Jupe Perps LP, but the actual Jupiter token, the Jupe token, really good airdrop. I think they did that very well, rewarding the ecosystem for using Jupe. The standalone wallet, I think, is really good. So then the token, I think with Solana, that would be, and then Bonk, you have to think about Bonk is also with the Launchpad. So there's a few things to pack here. The reason why I specifically am focusing on the DEXs though with Solana is that I remember what happened with Orca and Radium specifically when we had when we hit our first Solana season. These things went up substantially because people were trying to farm the DEXs. They were seeing these tokens. The trading volume was hot, and the NFTs on Solana. If you guys remember Solana. There were a lot of high NFT trading volume happening on Solana at that time as well. So it was just out of control. And so I think we could have that similar run. And it makes me think about the Trump token. Everyone was like, man, this freaking Trump token's a massive rug. But if you unpack it a little bit, when you look at the liquidity, look at how much liquidity is in here. There's the bank. So there's $331 million of liquidity in the bank of this token. So are they gearing up and getting ready for the next run on Solana season? Kind of just like how they had right before, right at the peak of the election and the quote, basically the point of the market where we probably should have sold everything. Like that was the moment that we should have sold everything and went into stables and then bought back in basically at the absolute bottom. That would have been the legendary trade. That should have been the signal, but we weren't. We were catching way too much FOMO. But I kind of have this theory that, man, they could, and look at all the buys coming in. Like you got these massive buys coming in look at this at 58 seconds ago. Look at all these buys. This is insane. Holy crap. You got whales coming in hard buying this dip, and they could be ready to just make this thing go parabolic again. The other day we ran, I know you saw the notification on your phone. You saw Mania pumped 15% and you got like shell shocked. You got like PTSD. You're like, what the hell is this? Oh my gosh. All right, so we have a couple of tweets that we wanted to show. We went for the culture and we bought some Rivian stock, the competitor to Tesla. Apparently, I didn't realize that stock, whenever it launched in 2022, was it was a good direct competitor. I even remember seeing it hitting the road too. I remember seeing when I was starting to see the trucks, and I was like, what the heck is that? But it basically just got nuked going into past 2022, but it's been building up good support. And so we actually have the chart up here. Ansem was pointing it out, and he was pointing out the fact that it could at least probably get back up to this 2022 rip up here, where we had a double top going up to $41. But I think the reason why we're looking at this in particular is because they've announced that they've had some cuts, but they're also gearing up for production, maybe for this next season coming up to combat Tesla. So, but it looks like we could just get a setup here. We have nice support build up. We have a support resistance flip that could happen. And I'm looking at like $35 as like that next resistance. So $35 next resistance. If you're looking, right now, if you're just kind of dollar cost average and you just want to get some good entries for this particular stock, don't know. Basically, that from the top of 174 from 2021, it just plunged. It went from here basically down 95%. So this has turned into a GME meme stock now. So watch out. Yeah, Ansem's got it. He said, "Man your battle stations, comrades." And at first I was like, "Is that AVAX?" Because that's the same price as AVAX right now, $17. So AVAX is looking good. So if we're going to just do a price reference, you can buy AVAX for $17 and you can buy Rivian for $17 as well. So things that are under $20 for 100 Alex. Okay. Yeah, AVAX and Rivian, $17 right now. Not bad. And I will say, if you are in the South Korea, Japan, Vietnam, Malaysia, Taiwan, Australia. Oh yeah, this for all my Australian people, you can actually get a BitGet Wallet Nakamoto card. So I actually have some people that watch in Australia, so you should actually test this out and let me know how it is, because this is super cool. I've always been pretty bullish Naka, and I've tested it out a bunch of times on the live stream, and this is pretty cool. So it'd be nice if they had this in the USA. Should hit them up and be like, "What's the deal?" We're so bullish crypto over here in the US. Like, there's no reason why we can't get stuff like this. And I bookmarked this tweet. I really wanted to show you guys this, because this just shows that in crypto, especially in our ecosystem, the volatility is a feature, not a bug, and it's not something we should be so mad about. We need it. 90% drawdowns on culture coins are a feature, not a bug. The speculation gets washed out, creates a bottom and accumulation zone. So it's like, that's what ticker Bitcoin for me is. Like, ticker Bitcoin is the best representation of this, like multiple times of it just going doosh, doosh. It's just kind of like the heartbeat of what the meme communities have been like in peak FOMO, and also in real peak just fear, peak greed, and you can kind of see it. And if it's a good coin, it'll represent that in a wave of volatility, and that's the same with Bitcoin. So in TradFi, they call it the fair market value. In memes, we call it a rug. They're actually synonymous. He says, in the zone where you look stupid for holding, buying more, or bull posting, and that's kind of like what you end up having to do. You just become a believer, and you end up like Sami on Pulse Chain. You just like people, will basically threaten you, and you'll still have the conviction to show up. But so these delusional holders, however, create a level that the token meets equilibrium between supply and demand, the network effect. It's the zone where no one is speculating, no one is watching, and where no one wants to bull post after the shakeout, after the delusion subsides, but the true cult community remains. We are witnessing this happen in real time, and the true test of culture is how will these cults or guilds move going forward. Calling it coke to continue bull posting, haircuts and rotations, delusional crap posting are all things that one would see here. Many people still here at these levels are here for more than the money, though. They see a grander picture of how the future could unfold. These people are the ones in every cycle that you call crazy until their prediction on their assets turn true. Okay, so then the news calls them geniuses and wants to interview them for a Netflix documentary. And you see the tokens that he's referencing, and then you see the reference of Shiba Inu, how it ran so hard like at the towards the end. And it's always like this. It's even like this with Bitcoin. It's like this with the alts. It runs the hardest the last like 9 weeks, like basically like the last like 2 months, like it just, that's when it runs the hardest. And up until that point, you'll get like a 50% like smackdown, like what we just had. We had that max pain. We'll have all this kind of crap like this, but then towards the end is where you really get the true repricing or the true like value of what happens, and then it just goes whoosh, and then it's that network effect. So you have to be able to survive up to that point, so then you can be able to take a couple of cases of money. You could take a couple cases of money out of it, hedge your way out a little bit once it gets to that point. Because you don't want to be a person buying at that point. You want to had already been buying when it was fear, when people were saying it's over. Look, I had someone already come over and say, bro, I thought you said, bro, it is over. Sorry, I read your comment wrong. John said, bro, is it over? And I read it totally as like, bro, it's over. He was just asking me, bro, is it over? No, it's not over. That's what this whole live stream is about. The fact that it is, quote, not over, sir. But this is I love that post because that's really kind of how you have to, you end up just having to realize that some of this volatility is a feature. And Michael Saylor actually said that. He's like, look, Bitcoin's volatility is a feature, not a bug. And we wouldn't want it to be like a stable coin. You know, it's supposed to. It's trying to become the new money system. Peer-to-peer, decentralized, digital cash system backed by a network of node computers mining all across the world, and all you need is an internet connection, some kind of device. You can download a wallet, if you can memorize a seed phrase. And if you're not good at memorizing some words, you probably want to write those down. And if you can keep track of those, then you can have internet money forever. And you can pass it down through your family if you have the right protection. And this is where we're going to segue to our infomercial. I'm just kidding. Actually, I'm not kidding. No, but so speaking of privacy and you know, being able to pass down your crypto to your bloodline, we are going to start, and we already started it, but we just got to kind of tie up the loose ends and everything and get everything super official. But we're going to be starting a crypto consulting company. And let me know if you like this name, WalletWise, because I kind of like Bitwise. I like the wise aspect in some of these names that I've heard, and I think WalletWise would be pretty cool. So WalletWise Consulting, we are going to help people to just have good, healthy risk management in crypto. You could be an expert, you could be a noob, you could be intermediate, you could be at any level of crypto, but if you feel like you've just been kind of unorganized, you want to be able to track all your wallets, you want to see where you could potentially have some rebalancing, you want to know a little bit more about all these different narratives, you're going to contact me. And so if you want to do that and you want to be my sample customer, we've already have a Linktree set up, and we have Calendly set up where you can just book like a one-on-one. And if you want to do that with me, then feel free. Because I think I've been in this space long enough now that I bring value in to be able to just kind of pull all this stuff together with someone. We can have like an hour-long call. I can analyze your portfolio into a certain level, help you kind of just build like a watch list, a playlist of things, and also how to manage all of your stuff in one nice way. Even if you have wallets, multiple, like, 10 different wallets, you got NFTs, you got all this stuff, I can help you do it. But yeah. Because we're going to be doing this locally. So I'm going to do it online. We're going to do it locally. I think this is going to be an extremely valuable service, and why not capitalize on it right now? And if you're thinking of those same things, it doesn't even matter if it's what I'm just talking about, but just in any area of what you're working on. It doesn't even have to be crypto at all. This is how you need to like hedge against the AI takeover and start making money, because your job might go kaput. You might be in one of those sectors that they just all of a sudden you get a letter, you get an email, and you're fired. And you got to find some income, because whatever you're making, if you were making $3K a month, $4K a month, or however much that was, and now that's gone, that's a lot of dough that you're going to have to supplement now. 4K. So you need to think about stuff right now, that how are you going to be able to make whatever you are making with whatever is this like a prospect. Whether that's setting up your own business, trying to just get clients, whatever it is, you gotta double down on that right now. Like, this is the time. Like, well, the time was like weeks. The time was months ago. It was yesterday. But it's never too late, because now is a really good time. Now is a very good time. So, all right. So this is a good point by Richard Hart. Said, I remember someone shared an investment tip once in a chat room. They said, you know what my secret is? I just never, ever sell at a loss. I very often think about that. And that's what I always say to people. It's like, hey, with crypto, you only lose if you sell. When you sell at a loss, you could be a bag holder for a real long time. You got to think about the Bitcoin holders, man. God, the legends. They're legends to be able to hold through all that volatility and then cash out for the max reward, And for Bitcoin to then evolve how it did, and then become so liquid that you can deposit into multiple different wallets. You can put it into the Lightning Network, and then you can spend it. You can send it into a protocol to then get a collateralized loan if you want to. I mean, it's just like across the board. Now you can do all this kind of stuff, which Richard Hart then also makes another point to say Bitcoin was cool in that it launched and you could just trade it long before anyone was using it in the real world. People were mining it, trading it before it even had a price. But trading it was very, very hard to do. There were no on-chain exchanges back then. So he says it's cool that you can just launch a token, trade it on-chain before anything else is even built around it. So really it reduces the time to market. And he's kind of referencing how Pump.tires, Pump.fun, Bonk Fun, Bonk Launch, all the different launch pads. You got the Radium launch pad. You have the Jupe launch pad. I mean, there's so many different ways that you can create a token. You can create one on Orca. You can basically start an idea in a company that you want to do real world asset, like a real world company, and then you can just get it funded by starting the coin. You can literally do a seed round of funding through a project, through a launch pad. And as long as you do it all within the scope of kind of like, you're doing it properly, that's just like a massive launch. It's just a massive start. Like, it's just, you can just get stuff off the ground really quick. If you can get it going viral, you get the funding. So we're going to see how this is going to build over time over the next few years, and just see what gets used the most and how someone can really knock it out of the park with something. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Now let's get into, real quick, I want to go to the token leaderboards. I found this website, hodler scan, basically, holderscan.com. And so token leaderboards right now says the most holders, SHIB, Bonk, this meme coin. I'm still very curious about this. I don't know what's going on with this meme coin. Just called meme. Then we have the Trump token, Matic, Pingu, Pepe. We knew Pepe had a lot of holders, almost 500,000 holders. Uniswap, Crow, Hex, Grass, Pith, Mana, and I'm pointing out the ones that I like. Radium, we got Dog with Hat, Aave, Sand, Ondo, Mew has a lot of holders too. I remember, the Cat in a Dog's World. And we got Sushi. Oh, we got some Star Atlas. Magic Eden token. Fart Coin. We're going to have to go through this website a little bit more. But yeah, we just like that. We wanted to point that out. And in other news, if you didn't know, the Pulse chain ecosystem is getting another token that might have a sacrifice for it, aka you have to sacrifice funds to be able to get the airdrop. It's going to be called ProveX. This is the logo. Other news for ETFs, we got Solana coming down the pipe, more ETFs, XRP, Litecoin, Dogecoin, Cardano, AVAX, Hedera, BNB, Polkadot, Chainlink, Aptos, Stellar Lumens. We have Grayscale doing the multi-basket ETF, which has ADA, AVAX, Polkadot, Link, Litecoin, and Stellar Lumens all in one go. And then we have some meme coin ETFs that are going to have the Trump coin that is with Bitwise. And so speaking of Bitwise, this is the person that's the CIO, Matt Hogan, is for Bitwise. So they're actually bullish Solana, ETH, and memes. So, all right, did we cover everything that we wanted to cover? I think we did, because yeah, we gotta end this thing. We can't live stream for too long. We got the kids home. Kid was home sick the other day, and then now school is out, and so we're just, you know, we're just in the battle. We're in the battle. Okay. This is also, I just want to point out a couple things in the news. Trump administration is pushing for 50-year mortgages to ease housing costs. That's not going to ease housing costs. We don't need 50-year mortgages. That's insane. And someone made the comment, they were like, oh, I can't wait to drive my 15-year car loan to my 50-year mortgage home and pay off my 100-year student loan debt. Feels good, man. Feels real great. Just in perpetual debt. It's insane. We've built our system on just debt. It's insane. That's why I think once we can unravel this thing, hopefully the USA's plan of dumping gold on the world's head to then hedge into a Bitcoin money system with stable coins, and we can just kind of like erase the $37 trillion debt. I hope that works. Or we're just going to get caught paying the bill again, because that's usually what happens. That's what, through taxation and inflation, we get caught paying the bill. You know, it's not like the companies and all that, they don't eat the cost. You think they eat the cost? No, they fire you, and then they increase the price, and then you pay more. That's what's happened the past 5 years. You think these companies, why do you think the people that were rich got richer, and the people that were middle class and poor became poor? It's because the people that run the country and the companies, they said, yeah, we ain't eating the cost. We're not eating the cost. Things are gonna go. They're gonna get more expensive, especially with insurance premiums, the taxes on your house, the insurance for your house went up. Like, why did all that stuff go up? Because they lobbied for it, and the politicians all made money off of it, not us. So this crap with the 50-year mortgage is insane. This is so stupid. It doesn't matter that it'll decrease your monthly payment. You're gonna eat the cost in another way. That's how they trick you. That you're just gonna eat the cost in another way. I think that's total crap. I don't agree with that. I think we need to fix the damn system, not make it not like continue to make it some like insane 50-year mortgage. That's insane. That is crazy. We need to be having cheaper houses, better materials, stuff that is not going to cost insane, and it needs to be to where people can afford it. Not to get like, oh, okay, so our house has cost $600,000. Now let's make it a 50-year mortgage so then we can lower the cost. No, oh my gosh, it's so stupid. Okay, so we got to remember the McRib. If you didn't know this, it's really funny that the McRib is actually an indicator for bullishness in crypto. Anytime the McRib comes back, that means that something happens in the charts. Look, the McRib, and if you remember, it was the start, the McRib coming back in the Osbournes, if you remember, in the reality like heyday that basically spurred the whole revolution of reality TV. The McRib came back during that time. And so it was a cultural revolution. So McRib returns, bullish. McRib returns, bullish. McRib returns, bullish. And then look, the McRib is going to return here pretty soon, or it is back. So I think we might get actually a pump to about $134,000 per Bitcoin when as the McRib pump. So the McRib pump, probably up to about right here, 130s. Yeah, so we've got about 135,000. So we're calling it here on this channel. This is going to be the McRib pump. Okay, McRib pump to 136,000. We're calling it today on this channel. McRib pump, 135. I think that looks good. Yeah, the McRib indicator is pretty crazy. All right, anything else? Oh yeah, if you haven't set up the referral rewards program yet for MetaMask, make sure you use my link. Make sure you use my link. Also, we want to remind you guys, if you were to gamble $2,000 a month over a span of 1 to 5 to 10 years, you would just end up basically losing it all. And if you were to invest $2,000 over a span of 1 to 5 to 10 years, you would actually be hundreds of thousands of dollars richer and in profit and compounding interest, especially if you were splitting it, the $1,000 into or the $1,000, sorry, 500 into crypto like Bitcoin, or 500 into even just the S&P. You would be over a 10-year period, basically hundreds of thousands of dollars richer, and you wouldn't be a gambling addict. So let's always remember that, because the whole world right now, in terms of the marketing, is trying to get you to be a gambling addict on sports betting, parlaying, prediction markets. All the big crypto accounts are getting deals with Polymarket. We have all of your favorite people promoting DraftKings and all the stuff, and it's just, let's be honest, it's going to turn people into gambling addicts, and I think it's not good. And so we need to have a certain level of investing put in. And so we have to go that route. So we're not going to go into the gambling route. We're going to try and hopefully make you guys realize that crypto is a long-term play, long-term investment. Yeah, Dollar Dump says ADP report shows big job losses in October, meaning that it's only going to continue to get worse. I think a lot of people are going to lose even more jobs. The government shutdown is going to be the blame. I think that the government shutdown was purposeful on both sides, the Democrats and the Republicans, to soft play the fact that the jobs were going to get cut anyway. It wasn't the government shutdown that is making the jobs get cut, and then this political, quote, warfare that's shutting down these departments. They were already going to shut down the departments. All these jobs that they have in the government, they know are BS, and they're not going to pay for them anymore. They're going to cut them, and then all the other jobs that are in the sectors that we talked about are going to, then there's going to be thousands of people that are going to lose those jobs as well, because they're not going to pay it. It's going to be a transfer and a representation of what's the most valuable job, and then that's what is going to be coming down the pipe. So we're going to see how that plays out over the next few years. But yeah. All right. Well, I gotta go, guys. Appreciate it. Thanks for coming in. Make sure you hit the like button, all that stuff. Share the live stream, and we will see you on the next one. Peace out.